I was never in the debating club in high school, but I'd like to see if I can make up for lost time today. Be it resolved that the gospel reading we have just heard is the weirdest one in all of Scripture. Taking the pro position, this is indeed the weirdest reading in all of Scripture, will be me. Taking the con position, what are you talking about? It's not weird at all, will be me. It's not, or it is. It is the weirdest reading in all of Scripture. So, a lot of Sundays have names. There is Christ the King Sunday, there's Good Shepherd Sunday, there's Trinity Sunday. Welcome to Cook the Books Sunday. You may be hoping for some advice from church. One of the reasons people give for coming to church is I'm hoping to learn to be a better person. Well, abandon hope for that. That is not one of the things we're offering today. We are offering rather wildly unethical advice for not navigating corporate finance. Should you be caught in incompetence and malfeasance, should you be caught stealing office supplies and be summoned into HR's office where they let you know that your time at the company is coming to an end, here's what you must do. And this, by the way, proves that corporate HR is right to, when someone gets fired, to send them on their way immediately with all of their possessions in a box, because with the time that you have remaining to you, it's time to go through the files and change things. So if someone has a mortgage payable to the company and there is $200,000 payable on it, just make it $100,000. But here's the critical part: let the person who owes the money know that it was you who corrected the file. If someone has a great deal of debt, credit card debt, just close that account altogether and make it good, but make sure they know about it. Get out a stamp that says paid in full and see how many invoices you can stamp over the course of the day. And then next day, see if you can beat that record. And here's the wonderful news: after you have cooked the books and let all of these people know that you cooked the books on their behalf, they will be happy to see you after you are fired. This may be kind of Machiavellian advice. It's not particularly ethical advice or moral advice. And what a strange thing indeed for Jesus to be telling us. But wait, there's more. Because it turns out after you spend, I don't know how long, it doesn't say how long it is before you get notice and your final day, when you spend all this time manipulating finances, costing the company hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars so as to make yourself friends, your boss finds out. This is the moment when the paperwork hits the fan and you are summoned back into HR. You know how this conversation is going to go. In fact, things have gone so in such an attention-getting way that not only is HR there, but your boss is there. You sit down, you're perhaps even waiting for the handcuffs, and your boss says, "Good job." This is the sort of conniving behavior that we expect here at Acme Corporation. I couldn't think of a good name for the company. Acme is what delivers the materials to the Wile E. Coyote, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the sort of conniving behavior we expect at Acme Corporation. And not only are you not fired, but we're giving you a raise and keeping you on because we want deceitful people like you as part of our team. Actually, the mission statement of Acme Corporation sort of writes itself, isn't it? Like, we're, here together to lie together, or I don't know. I'm going to have to work on this. This might be pragmatic advice, but it is terrible advice if you have any sort of a conscience. What in the world is Jesus doing? I submit to the jury, so weird. Okay, taking the pro position. Or is it the con position? I'm taking the con position. You can tell I wasn't in the debating club. Taking the con position, actually, it's not weird at all, will be me. Over the last number of weeks, if you have been following the gospel readings, Jesus has given us one example after another, drawn from everyday life. So we've had family conflict is an image that he has drawn upon. We have had where to sit at a feast. As an image that we have drawn upon. We have had last week looking for lost stuff, an image that many of us recognize from our own lives. And this week we have stealing stuff, something that even if we don't, I hope not many of us engage in stealing stuff personally, but if you've opened the newspaper recently, or that's a dated reference, isn't it? If you've opened the news on your phone recently, you've heard a story about embezzlement. It is as old as humanity. I was a former workplace, a theater I used to work at. My boss abruptly left in order to spend more time with his family, and I thereby learned that spending more time with your family means you've stolen a great deal of money. Every time I see an announcement, by the way, in which someone is leaving to spend more time with their family, it's hard for me not to laugh remembering Kevin, because that's what he was doing. So we're in this run of Jesus drawing on experiences that folks, even if they don't know them personally, have witnessed. This is in the news all the time, folks engaging in this dishonesty. And where my opponent goes wrong is in assuming that this reading offers up something for us to emulate. It's very easy to imagine that what Jesus has given us, we've somehow got in the habit of imagining that what Jesus has left us is allegories. And what we need to do is dig out the decoder ring and figure out who the different characters are. So obviously the employee is you, and the boss is God in the allegorical reading of this. But what if this is not allegorical at all? What if this is a story about something that you've heard about in the news and an invitation to draw a lesson from it? There's a biblical scholar who refers to the character in this play, or this parable, and characters similar to that as immoral heroes. So they are folks who they don't have a very strong moral compass, but they still have something to teach us about life and about who we are called to be. Parables, I don't know if it's the same scholar or a different one, this scholar suggests are intended to invite wondering, confusion. They're intended to invite us deeper into thought. And something that I think maybe will help us in remembering what perspective we might have on this story is remembering who Jesus' original audience is. Overwhelmingly, Jesus' original audience is poor. So this story about folks who are owed a great deal of money isn't a story about people like them. It's sort of like me telling you a story about billionaires exercising stock options. That's few or none of us in that room. We may have heard about it, but it's not a thing in which we personally participate. And what Jesus seems to suggest by inviting us to look at this immoral manager is that when we make money the ultimate thing, when we make it the thing that we love, we end up living in this distorted way. And that too is a thing we see in the news right now, isn't it? Folks who've made money into the ultimate thing, and they end up being miserable. They end up doing things they would not do otherwise with money as this ultimate value. What the example of this immoral hero is to remember what our true focus ought to be. When money matters more than anything, we end up going around lying and in some weird way being rewarded for lying. That actually is a lot of corporate culture to this day, isn't it? Where there are systems set up to reward dishonesty, or I don't know if any of you read that article about if you have the bad experience calling the phone center, that's by design, that someone hung up on you. It is by design that you tried to cancel your subscription and they wouldn't do it. It is by design that you had any number of other bad experiences. And here's the I don't know, the genius is that the word of corporate dishonesty, no one ever comes out and says, please hang up on clients. No one ever comes out and says, when the client asks to cancel their subscription, don't do it. Rather, how corporate trainings go is that the manager says, we had this many clients cancel their subscription last month, that needs to reduce. And there's an incentive structure where if someone ends their call and they have not canceled their subscription, there is points or an incentive that the employee gets. And if they don't, or if they do cancel, there's a disincentive the employee gets. So there is this nudge that takes place without anyone ever saying out loud. And then, but when it turns out that was it a U.S. bank where folks were opening accounts without anyone's authorization, senior management is shocked and appalled to learn because they never said this stuff out loud. This is what happens when we make money into the ultimate thing. And the example of this immoral manager and in this everyday story is to give our hearts to something better than money. When we give our hearts to God, to the kingdom, to love, to neighbor, to creation, we get to live in a way that is honest to ourselves, honest to God, honest to our neighbor. So not the least bit weird, actually a very sensible reading indeed. All right, so I understand at the end of the debate, I now have to throw things to the judges, and the judges get to say, was it the pro or the con side that prevailed? If this was a game show, we would do it by applause. I don't think I am going to do that now. I will let you tell me if you want after church or at coffee hour whether you think one reading or another was more persuasive, and maybe I've ended up in the middle because I find both of them persuasive in their own way. Something that I love about the stories of Jesus is how many layers they have, how they are always new. And in a way, the genius of something like this story is that it is strange and it is sensible. There is a dissonance in it. Next time I read it, there probably will be still more new things that I find in it. Jesus' parables inspire and confuse and invite us to think. They're strange and everyday, and they invite you and me to wrestle with them, and in so doing, to learn more about the kingdom, learn more about the neighbor, and say ever further yes to following God.